Man, I still love that jingle so much. Hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Pac-Man here, and I am from the likes of the Merxy Toys videos, and as you can see, we're going to be tackling through the next Klonoa Let's Play for the channel, and because as you can see, we're going back into the Game Boy Advance of all things, ever since in Klonoa Empire of Dreams, from about almost a year ago. So now we're going to be tackling through Klonoa 2, Dream Champ Tournament. First came out in 2002, which I can't even believe has been about 2 decades ago, at least specifically in Japan's release. But the North American release of this game doesn't usually came out until 2005. So yeah, better late than never, I suppose, when it comes to this game's release. However, for some reason or another, is the fact that the European version of this game never saw the light of day in Europe, which I honestly have no idea why, but I'm guessing because it might be something to do with the actual sales figures or something. But as you can tell from the actual screen capture footage, I'm going to be playing on the emulator because unlike let's just say, Klonoa Empire of Dreams, that we actually did that Let's Play on the likes of the Wii U Virtual Console re-release, whilst in the forms of Klonoa 2 Dream Champ Tournament, we had to do it on the emulator this time, because like I said, this game never saw the light of day in the European countries, because, while I honestly have no idea why, they've never actually get this game as a re-release, so anyway, so let's go and pick our file selection here. So let's go with file number 1. So I guess there's no much explanation for this point, apart from the fact that, does that particular final boss seems a bit familiar to you? Well, because it turns out that this game takes place after the events of the conclusion to the likes of Klonoa Empire of Dreams. If you want to check that Let's Play out, thanks to Mega Man did manage to tackle for that game, like I said, since in the forms of last year. So because of that though, except the fact that, well, you probably know the actual idea for that solution. Dream Champ Tournament, calling all world revering adventurers. Let's see who the greatest hero is. Grand prize, 100,000 doozies or doories. See you there. What? So yeah, apparently we got ourselves a random note after killing the final boss on the previous game. And this time around though, Hyupo was not with us. Who the heck is up with this guy? What? What's this? Klonoa! Lolo! Popka! It really is you, Klonoa, what a relief. Hey, how have you been? Long time no see. What are you doing here? I was about to ask you the same thing. We were on an errand when suddenly we landed here. Me too. Welcome, adventurers from Dream World. I am Garlin, the sponsor of this tournament. You all have your tickets, I presume. All of you here are famous heroes. But what I want to know is, who is the greatest? Who is number 1 in Dream World? Number 1? I hereby open the Dream Champ Tournament. Let's find the greatest hero once and for all. Wow, the greatest hero? Of course, there is a huge prize for the winner. Well, brave heroes, if you want to join, hold up your tickets. Announce yourselves for Hero Champion. Well, how about it? Sounds like fun. I'm not so sure. Move it. Hey. That hurt. Watch it. If you aren't up for it, get out of my way. Brats. What? You heard me. Hey, isn't that the Golden Killer? Golden Killer grunts. Really? They say it's dangerous to mess with him. Impertinent brats. Who does he think he is? This guy bugs me. Let's take him on. Hey, Polka! Wait! That's the spirit. Let's all give it a go. So yeah, we start the game off, and as you can tell, that we ended up on a different world map, as you can see. Because normally, on the likes of, Klonoa Empire of Dreams, we have to go through one of those worlds in its individual path. Whilst in here, though, in order to be able to actually access to certain worlds, as you can see, we have to go to either north, east, west, or south. In this case, the first level, or the first world we can able to actually access to at the moment is Western Jungle, which obviously takes place in west, so it makes obvious sense. Welcome, brave heroes. I'd like to begin the tournament now. But it seems to me that maybe there are too many participants. Since there's like a lot of crowded people or contestants out there. First, we will test your abilities in the Western Jungle stage I created. Show me what you're made of. Can you make it through? Off you go, in order. Make it to the end. To qualify. Basically it's like a qualification match. I see how that is. This'll be a cakewalk. This will be a good warm-up for me. Polka? Are you okay, Lolo? Want to come with me? Thanks, but now I am a little stronger than I used to be. I'll do my best. Good for you. We're off. Let's go, Lolo. Good luck. Well, I guess I'll better show them what I can do. So yeah, we ended up in a qualifiers world, in this case, Western Jungle. Even though structurally speaking, it plays out exactly like the forms of how it does it in Klonoa Empire of Dreams, because as you can tell, though we ended up on the forms of a pretty cool 3D render of that particular world map, as you can tell. So anyways, let's begin with the forms of Klonoa 2 Dream Champ Tournament for the Game Boy Advance. So anyways, yeah, we already know what this is, because if you ever played Klonoa Empire of Dreams before, you know exactly how this plays out. Once again, you're still able to retain 3 units of health every time whenever you're able to actually come across into something hazardous, or in some cases if you're accidentally touched by an enemy, basically though you lose 1 bit of your heart. And also you're still able to retain yourselves these familiar collectibles ever since in Klonoa Empire of Dreams for the Game Boy Advance, and that's what appears to be these little star crystals that we have to able to obtain in order to able to leave the level. And also you're still able to retain the forms of those particular gems you can able to collect, that usually, relatively speaking, you still need to collect about 30 of them until you're able to unlock something or something like that. However, there's actually a new collectible in this game this time around though, which appears to be body forms of, as you can see on the bottom portion of the screen. As you can see, we actually got ourselves the Sunstone. And basically what that does is the fact that I believe there are about 9 of them in each world. So because of this though, if you somehow manage able to obtain all 9 of those Sunstones, basically this allows you to able to actually unlock these extra visions in their respective worlds. So basically, that unlike the forms of how it does it on the forms of Empire of Dreams, that basically those extra visions coming up, that relatively speaking, that usually becomes like individual levels outside of the forms of the world map. Whilst in here, this time around though, the extra visions are now going to be located onto one of those worlds. So, yeah, that begs the question for now. And I think out of all the actual Klonoa games up to this point, relatively speaking, is the fact that, well, actually I'll get to more details about that in a second, because, well, as far as you clearly can tell, is the fact that I'm going to be using my PS4 DualShock 4 controller with me by simply able to actually play Game Boy Advance games a lot easier. So that way, I don't have any issues with that, especially noticeable that it's way better than, using a keyboard, that's for sure, because the problem with using keyboards sometimes is the fact that sometimes it might be a bit cumbersome to play. Especially noticeable if we hit on to the next set of Game Boy Advance games coming up soon. That's the only control method we're going to be using for the time's sake, so... And also, as you can see, we got ourselves our familiar system. For those who ever played Sonic Adventure 2 before, basically we have our ranking system, which I think you can actually go up to like S rank, and then the lowest rank might actually be the C rank or something like that. Well, at least that was before when Sonic Unleashed was a thing, for the sake of the forms of the ranking system, as far as that was being concerned with S rank all the way down to C and stuff like that. So, yeah, you probably get the gist of it, so anyways, let's move on to Vision 1-2. So, of course, we still need to able to go through visions and all that stuff, though, just like in the previous games, so to be expected by this point. And also, we got ourselves these familiar mechanics from the likes of the forms of Empire of Dreams, so everything else will be expected. It's like Empire of Dreams, except the fact that with the level themes are a little bit more different this time, because rather than taking place in the forms of that particular the dream world itself, I think it usually takes place this time around though someplace in the tournament or something like that. Well, at least I haven't exactly looked upon that particular Let's Play as much as the forms of those amazing duology games, because still, thanks to the forms of those Klonoa remasters coming to the Nintendo Switch, I am super happy about it, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, by that time we've only got about 5 months to go until the Switch version is going to be released. So, at least I'm super excited able to play those 2 games again, except the fact that I can now finally play Klonoa Daughter Phantom Isle on the go with a remastered visuals, and especially noticeable with Klonoa 2, Lunati's Veil for the first time well, you probably already noticed we've already done the Let's Play of Klonoa 2 Lunati's Veil on the PlayStation 2 back in the forms of not too long ago actually. So because of that though, that means is the fact that I can finally play the game again, except I can now finally play Klonoa 2 on the go. So that way, it will be super fantastic and all that stuff. We're not exactly sure what the release days are going to be. Well, I do definitely know for the fact that the Switch version is going to come out first. To be more specifically until the 8th of July. I'm not exactly sure about the rest of the platforms though, ranging from the PlayStation versions, well, to be more specifically PlayStation 4 and 5, or Xbox One, or Xbox Series X or S, or PC Steam, but we'll find out in the future. But even then, though, let me know in the comments. So, and also, very similar to the forms of how it does it in Moonlight Museum for the Bandai Wonders one, basically does the fact that in order able to actually 100% the game, as you can tell, we're actually going to be still collecting those familiar gems that we can able to get. However though, if you manage to get all of them from each level, ranging from 30 for most of the levels, that way you can able to actually just to get rid of that particular mark on that particular dream gallery, and basically that actually reveals a little bit of the image. So it's basically like a combination of let's just say Klonoa Empire of Dreams sometimes, and especially noticeable with well, Moonlight Museum for the sake of the forms of the exact same system and all that stuff. So yeah, you get the idea about that. So. And also, this particular game also kind of reminds me of the forms of Mario Party 2 at times, because as far as you probably already know, that until whenever we get into the next few levels until later, basically though, there's the fact that certain enemies, like these guys for instance, do manage to have themselves a pretty unique costumes to them. So in this case though, one instance is the fact that if one of those regular enemies do manage to able to actually carry those, let's just say tree sticks or something like that, to able to actually fit the theme of the actual nature of this particular level. Although there's also another one of those worlds that actually involves around some enemies do manage to wear a conductor outfit, which still, it does remind me of the forms of Mario Party 2, for the sake of the forms of the costumes comes into play, for certain things or what have you, except the fact that Klonoa doesn't seem to able to wear different outfits until, you know, before when Klonoa for the Wii exists. I'm not exactly sure about the fact that, I do know for the fact that, relatively speaking, with those alternative costumes you can able to, like, unlock and stuff like that from the likes of those two games remastered compilation. So, at least as far as I'm usually concerned with this. So, anyways, let's go ahead and grab this little, star crystal, or this little star collectible thing that, you know what I mean, it's still mandatory if you really want able to finish any other levels, so. And basically, let's talk about the forms of the ranking system of how this game plays out to be this time. Because, in order to able to get the S rank in this game though, you need to be sure you need to be perfect on this. And thankfully, it doesn't rely on time, so because of that though, you can just simply manage to able to actually just spend some time in the actual level at any point. But here's the thing though, is the fact that in order to able to get the S rank on any other levels, although relatively speaking, I'm pretty sure those ranking systems in this game is pretty much optional for the sake of the forms of if you really want to go after all the ranks throughout the game, specifically all S ranks throughout. And basically that could be summarized like, for instance, that you notice that we've already keep on collecting those Dreamstones. Oh yeah, that's what those collectibles are called. Because I know for the fact that it has been about a couple of months ago since we last touched upon the forms of something related to Klonoa. Ever since then, like I said, Klonoa 2 Lunati's Veil since back in the forms of November last year. So because obviously today is the fact that today is the final day of the forms of February before we move on to March. So in this case though, today is the 28th of February today. So in this case though, some things I need to explain, and that is the fact that, relatively speaking, until tomorrow, well, assuming this is on the UK or something like that, it looks like that the Pancake Day is going to be up until tomorrow. So for those of you who really want able to actually become a little bit more hungry for having a lot of pancakes here and there, then by all means, you can able to actually just, well, have some delicious pancakes onto several different add-ons to the table or something like that until tomorrow. So even then, I'll save that conversation until whenever we get into Wednesday. So because of that though, yeah, everything else goes all fine and dandy and everything. So anyway, so yeah, in addition to able to collect all of those Dreamstones, but also that also the amount of retries you're going to be able to be using and how much damage you take. Basically though is the fact that if you get hit once, your rank get a bit lowered. So because of that though, if you get hit too many times, I can assure you that you might able to go across into the worst ranking ever, which appears to be the C rank. So yeah, keep that in mind. So, But like I said before, I'm pretty sure those S ranks are pretty much optional. You don't need to necessarily try to able to go ahead and just test yourself by going for that specific stuff like this. So yeah, that might be something that's entirely optional for the sake of time. So anyways, oh, I just realized we're going into a very weird perspective this time around, which, as you can tell, similar to the forms of how it does it on Klonoa, Empire of Dreams, and say applies to Klonoa 2, Lunity's Veil. Much like in those two games, you're still able to actually catch a ride with that particular hoverboard section. So in this case, though, everything else will be a little bit more familiar at this point, especially noticeable if you ever played the previous two games before, except the biggest difference is this time around is the fact that unlike any forms of how it does it in both Klonoa 2, Lunity's Veil, and say applies to Empire of Dreams, unfortunately though, those particular segments does not have any checkpoints this time around, so you have to do this within one singular playthrough this time around, which is a bit cumbersome to me, but regardless of everything else though, I'm pretty sure it's like, I don't know how do I usually describe about it. And also, as you notice, is the fact that the Dreamstone amount of values, for the sake of those particular stages like this, is actually now in half, as opposed to 100 from the likes of the forms of Empire of Dreams. So at least that might be something going for it. So in this case though, yeah, you have to do this within the only first attempt, because if you somehow mess it up, if it's especially noticeable, because the only annoying thing about these kind of stages like this, I have to admit though, is the depth perception sometimes. So because of that though, and then if you're trying to able to work with the depth perception, then you would do it alright. And also keep in mind, you still need to able to collect that particular Sunstone as well. So in this case though, we actually did this pretty alright. Although eventually though, that the certain stations can get a little bit more tougher, even way harder than the forms of how it does in other games, that's for sure. But I'll discuss more details about that into whatever we get to later, so... And it feels like we're on the halfway point of the first world in the game, so it should be expected by this point. So anyways, let's move on to Vision 1-5, so we can able to expect that, oh yeah, similar to the forms of how it does it on Empire of Dreams, I believe this particular game does manage to have ourselves about, roughly about, 9 visions in each world. Well, apart from the fact that there's one noticeable difference this time, like I said, is the fact that certain extra visions, if you somehow manage to collect all of these, all 9 Sunstones in each and every single level, that's basically that the extra vision will be located on the exact worlds. So, but then again, I will save the extra vision stuff until for later time, because obviously we need to take care of the forms of the main worlds first, before we, do anything about it. So in this case though, we're just gonna have to like use that enemy to once again just activate either a throwing projectile or a double jump, so that way we can able to get into the highest height. So it's a good thing we're actually going to be doing this particular Let's Play, because obviously that in addition that, you know, 2 of those amazing Klonoa games are now remastered coming to the Nintendo Switch, but also this year marks the 25th anniversary of the Klonoa series. So, pretty cool and awesome at the same time, because, well, since I'm now a huge fan of the forms of Klonoa stuff now, apart from the fact that I'm missing a couple of games I'm still meaning to get, or especially noticeable just trying to access to, that is the fact that there was that particular spin-off game called, Klonoa Beach Volleyball, which came out on the PlayStation, which I believe that came out not only in Japan, but also in Europe as well. So gee, I have no idea why that this game managed to able to skip the European release. So I honestly have no words to say, because even then now, I was expecting if I was trying to able to play this game by myself, it might be actually be kind of hard to get right now, because I can assure you that the actual cartridge version of this game is actually getting a bit, I'm not gonna lie, a bit tad expensive. So even in this case though, yeah, that's as far as I can say about it. So anyways, let's jump up there to get a Sunstone, so that way we can able to keep that at any point's notice. So yeah, there's not much else I can talk about for the sake of this point. Oh shoot! Well, there goes my S rank, but oh well, it doesn't matter, because just like in the forms of our Let's Plays of Sonic Adventure, Sonic Hero, no wait, Sonic Adventure 2, and Sonic Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog sometimes, and especially noticeable with let's just say Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, Sonic Unleashed for the Xbox 360 and PS3, and most of any other Sonic games up to this point. That rankings are usually well, it's kind of hard to able to actually get the best ranking sometimes, but either way, we managed to complete that stage, despite the fact that I somehow managed to go an A rank as opposed to S, because I would like to able to appreciate able to get the S rank, but somehow I did not notice there was actually an enemy just right underneath it, so oh well, no big deal, but at the very least that we've only got 4 more levels left, so excuse me, I've got something on my throat there because I've been eating too much pack dots recently, so oh, I just realized that every single 6 levels throughout in each world, basically it doesn't start off with the auto-scrolling segment this time. Although my guess is the fact that these auto-scrolling segments are now going to be replaced as in a different level number, so we'll expect to see how this is going. So, yeah, that's as far as I can usually try to describe about the forms of some slight differences between, you know, Klonoa Empire of Dreams compared to this, so, but I do apologize also is the fact that I have to able to actually catch up of the forms of that particular uploading schedules lately, because, well, relatively speaking, I'm just a tad bit easier, or tad bit busier when it comes to likely, you know, doing all kinds of stuff. So in this case though, yeah, that's as far as I can usually try to describe it. So, and also, similar to the forms of how it does it on any other Klonoa games up to this point, we still need to able to actually obtain certain keys in order to able to progress to the actual level. So because of that though, yeah, we've been able to actually deal with all that stuff. And I get the strong sense of feeling that certain puzzles in this game can get a lot more tougher this time around, which, even then though, it wasn't until whenever we get into the 3rd world in the game that I'm sure that most people already know what I'm going to explain about this from the start. So, anyway, so, yeah, I suppose I should probably mention about this as well, I think. Although I think I should probably save that particular massive disappointments discussion for the sake of the forms of, let's just say until on Wednesday, or should I say tomorrow, once I go back on to Wario Land 4, because obviously that since then we've almost finishing up with Wario Land 4, and also almost trying to wrap things up with the forms of the Wario platformer series up to that point. Well, it wasn't until whenever we get into 2 more games until the rest of the Wario platformer series is about to end. Well, until whenever we still continue things on in our WarioWare Inc. or the WarioWare series retrospective, well, some exceptions mind you, but in this case though is the fact that we'll go discuss on that most unfortunate news until tomorrow when I go back to Wario Land 4. So, yeah, you get the idea about that. So, and also what's kind of annoying today, and that is the fact that one time when I did manage to able to play myself, Mega Man powered up recently on my PlayStation Portable, and I was about to be able to try to get something for the sake of the forms of the actual, let's just say construction mode. You know, at that time when you have to able to actually connect to your Wi-Fi in order to able to actually not only actually access to download some level packs for the sake of the forms of certain enemy packs or anything else like that, similar to the forms of Mario Maker, but also just trying to download not only Proto Man, but also Roll as well as playable characters. But unfortunately though, although it does manage able to still work for the sake of the forms of trying to able to actually access to Capcom services, but unfortunately though, my internet connection doesn't allow me to able to actually just get into the actual, well, the site itself, because I was really looking forward to able to actually just to try it out the rest of the playable characters on that, but unfortunately though is the fact that my internet connection is still pretty much locked to the updated one as opposed to the outdated one, specifically WPA, that is usually only requires for PSP connections. And then as far as I've noticed, that my latest Wi-Fi router was actually in, well, let's just say, WPA2, which is not supported PSP at all, so I'm pretty much out of luck. So because of that though, yeah, let me know in the comments to be able to actually figure out how on earth do I suppose to be able to actually get the actual Wi-Fi router that actually supports WPA, because obviously it only requires the PSP connection, so... And in that way, as soon as I'm able to actually access to it though, then I should be able to actually finally able to experience, to able to play as not only Proto Man, but also Roll as well. So because of that though, I might able to actually figure this out, so... Anyway, so let's move on to Vision 1-7, as you can see. And basically, that's, well, we get to now able to do with the forms of the auto-scoring stage. So, yeah, similar to the forms of how it does on the previous game, Empire of Dreams, you still need to be able to actually just keep moving and all that stuff. But the massive difference is this time is the fact that our Dreamstone's count is actually lowered. So because of that though, because previously it was 100, whilst in this game this time around is actually now 30. So because of that though, it makes things a lot more easier than the forms of how it does it from the likes of Empire of Dreams sometimes. Because usually in the Empire of Dreams case, you have to be fast on these segments, because if you don't catch up to it at all, then obviously you will take a life away, and on top of all that stuff though, you have to be able to do the entire collectathon again if you somehow able to actually miss any of those Dreamstones, in addition to the Sunstone in general too. So, yeah, that might actually begs the question for this part, so... Anyway, so let's go ahead and just keep moving, so just in case we can able to just... Actually, gotta think about it also is the fact that certain auto-scoring segments are also kind of short too. So because of that though, it no longer goes through 3 different checkpoints here and there. So this time around though, it's only for 2 segments. So I guess that's far more shorter than the forms of how it does it from previously this time. So, and once again we're getting blasted off to the cannon, similar to, you know, Klonoa, Empire of Dreams, and on top of that, Klonoa 2, Lunity's Veil. So, yeah, nicely done. So in this case, we're pretty much done with that. And I believe we've only got about 2 more Dreamstone Collectathon left until we're able to actually see our first image from the Dream Gallery mode. So we'll try to figure this out and do it at some form or another. And before we move on to the boss fight, or... I don't usually say boss fight because, well, we'll point it out whenever we get into it. So, let's just move on to level or Vision 1-8. So we can able to actually expect that we can able to actually just wrap things up on those puzzle segments for the sake of, you know, the first vision. So... But yeah, there's not much else I can talk about, I'm afraid, guys, apart from the fact that, well, about that time until whenever we get on to, let's just say on Wednesday, for more continuation uploads for this game in particular, that, it's pretty obvious that Mario Party 9 will be officially become, a decade old, in this case, 10 years old. So, yeah, that'll be, pretty cool, and also at the same time that I know for the fact that a lot of people seem to don't like Mario Party 9 as much as the forms of other games, because obviously with their different gameplay styles, as you probably already know. But I digress. So I suppose I should probably mention about this as well, is the fact that recently I managed to able to order myself not 1 but 3 game controllers I've somehow managed to order from eBay. Those are the Sega Saturn controller, specifically the Mark II version of that particular controller, because it does look nice, and it's certainly a lot more better to me though than the forms of how it does it on Mark I version of that particular controller. And also I did manage to order myself the Sega Master System controller, because it almost reminds me of the NES controller, except the lack of the start button or the select buttons. So, because obviously with the Sega Master System, basically though is the fact that it does have a pause button on the system itself. So, yeah, it's kind of weird though, but at least I'm pretty much used to it, so. And finally, I did manage to finally got myself the Wii Classic Controller Pro, because obviously I still managed to have myself the actual, the normal version of that particular Wii Classic Controller, but the only downside I can think about it with that particular controller in mind is the fact that it has lack of grips. So, but even then though, I'm very happy that I managed able to finally order myself the Wii Classic Controller Pro, just in case I can now finally able to actually get ourselves a comfortable grip. So in this case though is the fact that I think we'll try to able to use that on certain situations. For maybe if we're able to decide to do some Dragon Ball Z games for our Let's Play sake. Mainly for likely Budokai games on the PlayStation 2. And also Budokai Tenkaichi 2 and 3. That I'm probably not going to be able to actually start all over again on my regular Wii system for both Budokai Tenkaichi 2 and Budokai Tenkaichi 3 on my regular Wii because I don't want to able to lose my entire progressioning for, you know, a lot of work. And especially noticeable that, well, luckily, those two games are backwards compatibility with the Wii U, so we can able to actually just do that Let's Play at some point in the future. We don't know when though, because obviously we're going to be focusing on, you know, this for now, as well as the forms of Warrior Land 4, like I said. So, yeah, you get the idea about that. So, and also we come across this new gimmick right here, which involves around this particular magical pod. And basically though, if you manage able to drop those enemies into the pod, basically it creates a kind of a beanstalk syndrome. And then basically though is the fact that if you somehow manage to let the beanstalk grow, depending on what enemies you're able to actually just to put them in on, basically though is the fact that you can able to climb onto the beanstalk, and on top of that, you can able to actually grab the enemy from the very top of that beanstalk. So, anyways, let's move on to the final quarter. So in this case, though, is the fact that, well, we'll just get things started right here. So, anyways, and I think we got ourselves our cinematic cutscene right here, even though it's kind of like the exact same style as Empire of Dreams, so nothing different from there. Looks like this is the final checkpoint. Okay, I'm off. So yeah, basically though, in this final kind of levels and certain visions, is the fact that basically, rather than just trying to able to take on certain bosses for the sake of the forms of the boss health meter, instead, the only difference is now, as you can tell, well, obviously, that unlike in Empire of Dreams, you have to fight those bosses physically, whilst in here, though, it's all about the race. And because of that, though, your objective is pretty simple. Basically, it's the fact that you have to make your way towards the end of a level, while you still need to be able to do a lot of emphasis on collectibles for the sake of not only those little star collectibles, but also Sunstone, as well as Dream Gems, or Dream Stones, as I like to call them. So in this case, though, is the fact that you have to do a lot of emphasis on not only for certain explorations here and there, but also keep that in mind that you got able to keep an eye on the top screen, which basically, in addition to trying to show you the actual timer, it doesn't matter if the forms of the timer doesn't seem to able to harm you, it's just for the sake of the forms of the records department. But also, that since we're going to be doing with the very first boss in the game, despite the fact that, wow, he can't able to actually just to deal with the forms of that particular attack against with that particular boss in mind to able to stun them. So just in case you can able to slow things down with them. So in this case though, is the fact that, well, you just have to keep an eye on the forms of that particular, you know, the actual, the thing itself. So, however though, here's the thing though, is the fact that, relatively speaking, is the fact that, if you somehow manage to let any of those bosses to manage able to make their way to the finish line before you, basically though is the fact that you lose instantly. So because of that though, well, because of that though, I was expecting about the fact that it does manage to able to, I have no idea. So anyways, let's go ahead and just break certain crates before we grab some more Dream Stones, and I think this might actually be the last portion right here, and there we go. And good thing we've managed to collect every single collectibles on there though, so yeah, that pretty much does it for the first world in Klonoa 2 Dream Champ Tournament, despite the fact that I got hit once, so in this case I somehow got an A rank, but that's okay. However though, if you somehow die in one of those particular levels like this, similar to the forms of how it does it on, well, let's just say every 4th levels in each vision, unfortunately, no checkpoints. So because of that, if you mess up once, you have to start all over again with that particular level, so keep that in mind. Well done. There is the illusion or installation, I have no idea. So, I do apologize if my commentary gets a little bit iffy at points, folks, because I'm just feels a bit too laggy when it comes to likely trying to put up with the uploading schedules in mind. So, but hopefully in the future, though, then I should able to actually catch up for certain recording sessions every once in a while. Here comes the last participant. Congratulations! We have a total of 10 heroes participating. Wahoo! Congratulations, Klonoa. Lolo, you made it too. Good for you. Do you think better of me now? What? I was helping you out the whole time? Haha, you did really well, Lolo. I underestimated you. Hey, Klonoa. Ghibli, you're here too? I'm thrilled to be in the same competition as you. Ha ha ha. And of course this particular kind of reminds me like Shadow. Friends of yours, huh? I think I can use them. Oh, we'll just see about that then, huh? So with that being said though, we'll go ahead and end things off here, so join me next time for more of Let's Play of Klonoa 2 Dream Champ Tournament, and that is the fact that we are now moving on to, let's just say, northeast portion, and that, because of this though, we are now going to be exploring through, well, let's just say north, and that's what appears to be Northern Express. So I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Later, fellas.